pleasure to be here. Can you hear me okay? I have a cheerleader voice if you need it. Our topic today is protect what matters. I propose we follow the lead of the Institute of Healthcare Improvement. In 2012, in the New England Journal of Medicine, authors recommended flipping a familiar question that I know you've heard in your lifetime. Instead of asking patients and families and staff, "What's the matter with you?" they decided we should turn it around and ask a more compassionate question. What matters to you? So the Institute of Healthcare Improvement adopted that and put it into action, and surprisingly they found the responses to that question improved quality, safety, and joy. So as we contemplate, protect what matters in our lives, I think we better consider that question. If I had time to collect your responses, I believe our answers would be very similar. One thing is certain. In order to determine protection strategy, we need to know what actually requires protection. So, feel free to raise your hand and nod or simply smile if you agree with the following list of potential answers to that question. What matters in your life? Family, friends, faith, funds, financial freedom, fun. When I asked my husband without hesitation, he said, health. Happiness, hope, peace, contentment. Have I missed anything? Is there anything else that matters that you would want to add to the list? I want to add something. I want to propose an out-of-box thought. You matter. Of all the things I share with you today, I would like for you to remember that you have value. In order for anyone to have a holistic, healthy quality of life, safety, and joy, we have to take care of ourselves. Do you understand the definition of holistic? The mission statements of healthcare organizations, or maybe even your workplace that you worked for, they state, we're going to take care of you, your body, your mind, and your spirit. That's holistic. But I believe everyone here is aware of how to take care of the physical part of the holistic pie. I don't think you need me to tell you that you need good rest, a nutritious diet, exercise, and annual checkups. Someone in your life probably warned you, please don't take Aunt Edna's pills. Those blood pressure pills, hers are green and yours are pink. You've heard that before. You don't need me to tell you to lose weight or gain weight. At our age, we know our strengths and our weaknesses. And like the Apostle Paul, we can sing together in harmony. Sometimes what I should do, I don't. And what I shouldn't do, I do. We're well acquainted with the physical. So let's move on to a more valuable couple pieces of the holistic pie. I want to provide you with strategies to help you protect your emotional and spiritual well-being. And you do know, if you have distress in those two areas, physical illness can develop. Are you ready to learn new protective strategies? My hope is you grab onto the principles of PP management. And this is not a lecture on defense undergarments. It's not about kidney issues. It's actually about identifying the problem people in our lives. And I want to give you tips how to deal with those dear ones who are a bit abusive. And there are some. So I want you to imagine if you have an emotional or spiritual bank account. We all have bank accounts, right? Robbers actually can sneak into our lives, steal our peace, crush our contentment. They can take so many withdrawals away from us, emotionally or spiritually, that we become bankrupt inside. They can wring us dry like a dish rag. But as with any bank account, it can also be built up by the positive people in our lives who make generous deposits that give us fantastic yields and returns on investment. Joy, peace, and contentment ensures amazing growth and comes with a great interest rate. Both PP populations surround us in our lives. How many of you are still working and can remember the day when the schedule came out? Monday and Tuesday, you looked at who you got to work with and you went, great, I get to work with Judy, and I get to work with Robin, and I get to work with Alan, and wow, it's going to be a great day. Monday and Tuesday is going to be a great day. And then you look at Wednesday, and you look at Thursday, and you go, oh no, I gotta work with the drama queen, I gotta work with the woe is me. Oh no, I'm feeling sick already. I think I'll call in. It happens. But why do we get those feelings? Is it possible to take hold of a new strategy to safeguard ourselves from what I call that internal churning? Things that make us churn. I want to share with you my perspective of living a healthy quality of life that is respectful of safety, filled with joy, and I believe protecting our personal peace and contentment should be one of our number one priorities. If you're able, take a fist, take your other hand and cover it, bring it close to your heart, close your eyes, take in a deep breath, and imagine God whispering in your ear, my peace I give to you. This is my gift to you. Open your eyes. Why on earth would God do such a thing? Because you matter. You are valuable. You are the apple of his eye. Now think of this. How do we lose that God-given peace and contentment? The only time you lose your peace and contentment is when you give it away. But it's God's gift to you. So protect it and treasure it. It's a keeper. No one and no thing deserves your peace and contentment. Like a bank security system, you need to look at who your bank robbers are in your life. I've got to tell you about a friend of mine I worked with named Ruthie. She will give us several life lessons. This story breaks my heart. Not all family relationships are healthy. Can I get an amen? Amen. Amen. It's true. A patient said it best once. She said, Donna, I didn't grow up with the Waltons. Neither did I, John Boy, okay. I was in the office with my girlfriend one evening. She said, Donna, you know a little bit about money. I need to know something. At what point would a person file for bankruptcy? Well, Ruth, it depends on how deep the hole of debt is and if it's possible to climb out of it. I had no idea she was talking about herself until she said, I have $60,000 worth of debt, and it's credit card debt. I was shocked. I looked at my dear old friend who was over 60 and said, but you work 3 jobs. How is this possible? What is the problem? And the truth poured out. In order to see see her grandchildren, her adult children, place big ticket items like a new bedroom suit or a car or whatever they wanted, that she would have to buy things for them in order to see her grandchildren. Out of love for her grandchildren, she was being robbed. The lessons here that we need to learn from her story. This is tragic, but it's not our monkey. What do I mean by that? Years ago, I lived in North Carolina. I had a wonderful roommate, Carol Ann, and her dad was so good to us. He was a counselor at a school, and he would take us out to dinner. And I said to him one night, how can you tolerate people coming to you with all their problems all day long? And he shared this story with me. He said, Donna, I set the stage. If a child or an adult comes into my office, I let them know, you have a monkey on your back. While you're in my office, your monkey can jump all around on my desk and all over my stuff. Your monkey can even sit on my shoulder. But when you walk out of the office, the monkey goes with you. Here's another hard but essential truth. The only person I have the power to change is me. Ruthie does not need my judgment. She needs my friendship. Some of us are educators or fixers. It is not our job to fix everyone. I hate to break it to you. We cannot fix stupid. And sometimes we need to look into the mirror and identify stupid. Remember, problems of others may not be your problem to solve. We all have to learn in this life. And sometimes people have to walk their journey themselves, that learning journey. Moving on to another unforgettable occasion with a heartwarming story full of lessons of wisdom that helps us protect what matters against amazing odds. Have you ever heard the term love your neighbor as yourself? Sometimes that's difficult. For many of us, it is easier to take care of other people than to take care of ourselves. But neglect can catch up with you. Jerry gave me permission to share his story with you. Before retirement, I worked as a heart failure educator and coordinator. A nurse requested I see a patient from the cardiac clinic. Donna, this guy is a grouch. I love a grouch. I couldn't wait to get into his room because you know there's a reason that someone might be grouchy. I couldn't wait to meet him, so I walked into his room. I introduced myself and asked a simple question. Jerry, tell me all about your life. Then I engaged in an antique ritual. Have you ever heard the saying, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, take the hint? Listen twice as much as you talk. And I listened. Jerry began. I was a Marine. I married my high school sweetheart who got cancer. She died after only 4 years of marriage. I was lucky enough to find love again. And my second wife just passed. She was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. This man cared for his second wife and never left her side for 16 years. And now, he found out he has severe heart failure. He was eager to learn anything. He was determined to take whatever measures it would take to get well. And I taught him. And the next day I returned to find out if he had questions or if he needed other resources. And then I asked him permission for a couple personal questions. I asked him, Jerry, what gave you the strength to care for two women that you loved desperately? He gazed at the bedside table, pointed to his rosary. He said, I got that rosary from my parents when I was in 8th grade. I think Jesus fell off the cross somewhere in Vietnam, I'm not sure where, but I still have the cross. And I pray every day. And then he added, I made a vow and I kept it. So I asked him to tell me something sweet about taking care of his demented wife. And he shared this story. He said, Donna, she never peed in bed. And every time she needed to go potty, she'd tell me, and we danced to the potty. And when she sat there, I brushed her hair. Ah. What lessons can we learn from Jerry? To protect what matters. Realize, number one, some of our perceptions of other people totally miss the mark. When I shared Jerry's love story with the staff, those girls cried. He wasn't a grouch. He was in grief. Big difference. Lesson number 2 from Jerry. Knowing someone's story may sprout compassion. Compassion and kindness trump a judgmental attitude any day. Lesson 3, caregiving costs. Adopt a hard truth from critical incident management. If you were a fireman and you wanted to run into a burning building, but a live electrical wire was whipping about, if you place yourself in harm's way, if you neglect all safety measures, you can become a victim. Your ability to rescue anyone diminishes. You see, you matter. You must keep yourself safe in order to do the job. Lesson number 4. Jerry kept in close contact with his God in prayer every day. He took care of the spiritual. Faith mattered to him. Prayer permeated his life. He attributed his strength and his courage to God. Please don't ignore the physical. What about protecting your mind? Erickson was a developmental theorist from Harvard, and he plotted out psychosocial developmental theory throughout the entire lifespan. He looked at the challenges, the conflict that we have as we grow up, and he grouped us all. For example, a little baby infant will learn the balance of trust and mistrust. Teenagers, 12 to 18, will either learn identity or role confusion. A teen will learn a sense of identity and they will learn how to behave, or they'll become confused and have a very low self-esteem. Now, for those of us that are in the age range of 65 to grave, what do we balance? We balance integrity versus despair. This stage that we live in is one of reflection and life review. We can feel as though we accomplished a lot with our one and only life. And we can enjoy peace and wisdom when we think of the things that we've done. Or we can live with regret and we can engage in negative self-talk of the things we could have, should have, would have, but never did do. But you know, we don't have a redo button. We can't go back and fix the past. We can't also live in those bad memories. In order to move forward, we need to let some things go. Sometimes The reason for this distress is because we were raised with the no-talk rule. How many of you were raised with the no-talk rule? I was. Sometimes we don't know how to speak the truth in love. It's difficult. But in order not to churn, sometimes we gotta do it. So I'm going to tell you about my young heart failure patient named Troy. He would listen to me. I spent so much time with him, trying to help him because he would come into the hospital fluid overloaded. He ate too much salt. He did all kinds of things he knew he shouldn't do. Time after time after time, I would go spend time with him, and one day I got to churning, and I thought, I can't churn anymore, so I went in and I told him the truth. I said, Troy, I'm not coming to see you anymore. I care more about your heart than you do. You know what to do, and you're not going to listen to a thing I say. You're not going to see me again. And away I went. Well, the next time he came in, you know I went to see him. You know I did. And I told him I was going to retire. And this man was in his 40s and extremely overweight. And he said to me, Donna, you know what? When you retire, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Okay? And he actually listened to me. And the very day, my very last day at work, I got a text. Donna, this is Troy. I want you to know I'm your favorite heart failure patient, right? He said, when you came into my room, and he texted all this, when you came into my room, I want you to know it really hurt my feelings, but I needed to hear what you said. And now I need to tell you, I have lost 160 pounds, and I have never felt better. Why? Because I spoke the truth in love. And I meant it. And I wasn't mean. Sometimes when we churn or feel bad about things, it's because we didn't tell someone, you know, you really hurt my feelings when you do X, Y, Z. And sometimes it's just being honest to keep the churning and the peace in your heart. So, remember this. You do matter. You matter to God, and you matter to others. Pollyanna said this, if you remember Walt Disney, Pollyanna. If you look for the evil in mankind, you will surely find it. Why not flip it? If you search for the good in yourself and others, I am sure you'll find it. Live like you are loved, because you are. Remember our Marine Jerry. Make a vow to care for yourself along with those you love. Make that vow and keep it. Treasure your peace and contentment. Please don't give that God-given treasure away to robbers in your life. It is God's gift to you. And please don't carry a flock or brood or whatever you call a bunch of monkeys that don't belong to you. Don't carry them around. Make sure that they go where they belong. Know that you matter. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you. Many of you probably know the Serenity Prayer. Would I be right? Anybody know the Serenity Prayer? I want to pray this over you. That'd be all right. I hope I don't offend anybody. The Serenity Prayer is more than just those few sentences that we're used to seeing on a plaque. And what it says about peace is so great. So, bow your hearts. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as we would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if we surrender to your will, so that we may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. And all God's people said, amen. Thank you.